Hi, I'm Craig Elston, naturalist at the Hudsonville Nature Center. Welcome to the second part of the early spring wildflowers of the Hudsonville Nature Center. As you look out over the woods, notice the leaves are not on the trees yet. In fact, many are just beginning to break bud. The early spring ephemerals come out and bloom early in the spring before the leaves are on the trees. By growing early, they have access to all the sunshine they need to develop and bloom. Also, many of the early woodland flowers are white, with a few being yellow. Cut-leaf toothwort, or pepperroot, is a member of the mustard family. Has 3, rarely 2 leaves, and a whorl or slightly separated on the stem. They are 3-foliate. The leaflets are simple to deeply 5 to 9 cleft. Cut-leaf toothwort is found in rich, moist woods, especially beech maple. The white or purplish flowers March, April, and May. On the left is the cut-leaf toothwort. Notice the deep-seated yellowish-brown tuber. The one on the right is another toothwort called two-leaf toothwort or crinkleroot. Notice this root is much longer, has prominently toothed rootstock, which can often be branched. It is crisp and edible with a mustard flavor. Two-leaf toothwort is found in rich, damp woods and has 2 nearly opposite leaves above the middle of the stem. These are 3-foliate leaflets which are coarsely and bluntly toothed or lobed. The white flowers on loose few-flowered raceme from April to June. The plant is used for toothaches. Native Americans used it for colds, headaches, and sore throats. Spring beauty, Claytonia virginica, is found in rich, rather open woods and thickets. A single pair of opposite, fleshy, long, and narrow leaves are found on each flowering stalk. The genus Claytonia is named for an early American botanist, John Clayton, who lived from 1693 to 1773 in Virginia. Spring beauty grows to around 8 inches tall from a round, deep-seated tuber, which is edible and has a nut-like flavor. Since the tubers are usually so small, it is best to look for a plant with many leaves or growing in a circle. This is an indication of a larger tuber, making the effort more worthwhile. Flowers are pinkish to nearly white, with rose to dark pink veins. 5 petals bloom from mid-April through late May. They last several days, opening in, face, and follow the sun. They close when picked or hidden from the sun. Crimson coloring comes from a compound called cynodin, and white colors come from 2 flavonols, quercetin and camphorol. As it turns out, the flavonol compounds have pleiotropic effects in Claytonia. While they do produce white pigments, they also help defend the plants against herbivory and pathogens. The flavonols that produce white pigments also beef up the plant's defenses. White-colored flowers experience significantly less predation than crimson flowers. Because of this, white morphs, even with significantly less reproductive fitness, are able to maintain themselves in any given population. Reproduction is directly linked to pollinator preference. Solitary bees do, in fact, prefer crimson color morphs. As the plant produces seed, it looks as if it is blooming again, with hanging bell-shaped seed pods. And over here beside a trail, we have what is left of an owl pellet. Owls eat their prey whole and excrete the fur and bones that are not digested. If you were good at identifying rodents from the skull and bones, you could tell what species this owl had for lunch. Here we have yellow trout lily, also known as fawn lily, dogtooth violet. Notice the mottling of brown and green on the leaves, hence the name trout or fawn lily. It takes 6 or more years from seed for a plant to grow and bloom. Mature plants have two opposite fleshy, usually mottled, leaves. The flowers are lily-like, yellow, solitary, and nodding, with yellow and red anthers. The red anthers tend to the name adder's tongue. The pollen color can range from yellow to red and any shade in between. Research is currently being conducted to try to determine if there is any purpose to the color variations. Trout lily is found in rich woods, thickets, bottomlands, meadows, and can form extensive colonies. You will often find large colonies of small leaves. According to the late Fred Case, the plant sends out runners and pulls down each year. If they get too deep, they will not bloom but produce only leaves. The white species also found in the park, Erythrem albidum, is also known as white dog's tooth violet. Like the yellow trout lily, the mature plants also have two opposite fleshy, usually mottled leaves, and is also found in the same rich woods, thickets, bottomlands, and meadows as the yellow species. The two species may even grow side by side. The flowers are lily-like, pinkish or bluish white, solitary and nodding. Native Americans steeped leaves of both yellow and white species for an infusion for stomach distress. On April 1st, Clark of the Lewis and Clark expedition noted that spicewood is in full bloom, dog's tooth violet, and mayapple appeared above ground. Here in the middle of the trail is a piece of cottonwood with catkins beginning to bloom. Notice how large and red they are. Marsh marigold, cowslip, buttercup are one of 24 or so other accepted common names. The erect plant can reach 2 feet in height, forming rounded mounds and often in great profusion. Marsh marigold is found in wet places and often in the same wet places as skunk cabbage. If you visit this area in May, you will see them blooming in mass along the trail. The leaves are nearly kidney-shaped or rounded and toothed, with a deep sinus. The leaves and stems are edible when cooked, changing the water 3 or 4 times, but are poisonous raw. Here is another flower that has no petals. Instead, there are 5 to 10 bright yellow petal-like sepals, arranged in loose, flat clusters. Marsh marigold blooms mostly above the leaves in April through mid-June. The genus is Latin for yellow-flowered plant, and the species name is Latin for swampy or marshy, referring to the environment in which it grows. Native Americans used boiled, mashed roots to treat running sores.